feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to be back. It's nice to be back on a Friday for once. I don't remember the last time we did many weekend shows lately anyway, not at this time slot. We've been doing a lot of shows very early in the morning for American time. So like really early, like 5 a.m., 4 a.m., that type of thing during the trial, but we've sort of finished our trial coverage now. That is it. I won't be doing any other Aaron Patterson probably coverage until we get to the sentencing part of Aaron's trial. Then I will be going back and we'll do some more things for Aaron Patterson. But I've been on the Aaron Patterson train for, I don't know, since April, and I need a break for a little while. I need to do something else, talk about other true crime, and do some normal shows, like these normal shows that we haven't done in months and months and months. So we need to get back to it. So tonight, we're going to talk about Maxwell Anderson out of the US, but there's also some movement in the Ladybird Lake. Why am I saying it incorrectly, Ping? Ladybird Lake in Texas. There was a new write-up, a new investigation done by the Daily Mail. I don't know why the Daily Mail, but they did a thorough, in-depth look at the Ladybird Lake, and that's something we've covered a lot on this channel over the years. Is the random people who wind up dead in Ladybird Lake. And when I saw this new investigative journalism, I mean, it's the Daily Mail, you can call it whatever you want. But it was a pretty good investigation into the deaths of each person. They listed like who they were and what their findings were for each of the deaths in the lake. So we'll talk a bit about that too, because we haven't talked about Ladybird Lake in Austin for, I don't know, a long time, a really long time. But CBS 48 today had Maxwell Anderson's sentencing today. So if you don't know who Maxwell Anderson is, I'm sure if you've been watching the trial for his murder trial, he was now he is a killer. He is a convicted killer. But before, he was accused of killing Sade Robinson. And we covered it when that first happened. When it very first happened, they started finding body parts around Milwaukee. Now, we finally got a sentencing hearing today in Maxwell's sort of trial phase over there. And you should hear what the judge has to say. We'll get into it in a second. And what he has to say, he is a real scumbag of the highest order. He is an absolute piece of crap. I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. Yeah, I got a quote here from him. I posted it on Twitter earlier. And he said this: I took this to trial without ever once trying to make a plea deal of any kind because I did not commit these crimes. Well, Mr. Maxwell Anderson, I would love to know who else had the opportunity to commit these crimes. Who? Because you're the last person that was with her. The last. No one else was with her that night except for you. You picked her up, went on the date, went back to your apartment. Do you have an evil twin brother that we don't know about? Do you have someone that looks exactly like you, that caught the bus, that torched her car, that dumped her body parts, that went to the water and dumped parts of her into the water? Like, do you have an evil twin brother? Is this Days of Our Lives? Like, I don't get it. He is a narcissist, because that's what narcissistic people do. Can't accept responsibility for their own actions, and he can't. So he is a terrible human being. What he put that family through, and that that woman. You hear some of the details from this trial, and you're just like, how could someone do that in like 4 hours? That's what it is. The timeline's like 4 hours. Went from eating together at this restaurant back to his property to her being dead in just like a few hours. It's really horrible. But yeah, let's listen to this. This is from CBS 58, and I'm guessing that's in Milwaukee. They were covering it live today. I want you to hear what the judge and then what he has to say. Here we go.
Obviously, the victim's family would be permitted to play a role in that process as well.
Sorry.
And they would be able to
God,
decide whether or
coughing.
not to release him. We're asking you for that mercy today and that opportunity for some future release. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, what would you like to say?
I would like to start by saying that from the bottom of my heart, my deepest and most sincere condolences go out to Sade's family, as well as everyone else affected by this tragedy. That being said, Your Honor, I took this to trial without ever once trying to make a plea deal of any kind, because I did not commit these crimes. And so I plan to appeal my convictions, while I hope and pray that further investigations not only prove my innocence, but find and deliver true justice.
Anything else you wish to say?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. I've still got this like triggering cough every so often. I'm feeling a lot better, but just all of a sudden I'll get that like itch at the back of your throat and just start coughing. Yeah, whatever I had, that flu was nasty. Knocked me out for almost about like I'm still feeling a little off today. I'm still on the cold and flu because it's about the only thing that's getting me through the day. Do you believe anything he has to say? That's what I'm asking here. Do you believe anything that Maxwell Anderson has to say? He doesn't come across as sincere to me. He comes across as someone who only cares about themselves. His apology was very like half-hearted. It wasn't, it didn't seem very, like he wasn't like, I'm so sorry to the family. I committed this horrible crime. He's just like, I'm innocent. I've done nothing. I plan to appeal. I didn't do anything wrong. Really? Really? Because I've seen the evidence in this trial and I read through all the court documents. And, well, mate, if it wasn't you, someone out there has been running a secret campaign to, basically make it look like you. And I feel like there's no one on this earth that would go to that much trouble to basically set you up. Like, you'd have to be a paranoid schizophrenic to think up the ideas of you being able to have someone following you and making this murder look like it was you when it wasn't. The evidence is really strong in this particular case. I think his appeal is going to fall flat on its ass. I don't think he has much of a hope in hell. I want to hear what the judge has to say here. Let me get to this bit here.
And like behavior.
And pray that further investigations not only prove my innocence, but find and deliver true justice.
Anything else you wish to say?
No, ma'am.
So relative to sentencing, I have a job. And what my job is to do is to hold you accountable. That's to punish you. It's to protect society. It's to find a way that you never come back here again, to rehabilitate you. And it's to deter others from engaging in like behavior. at the point of sentencing, I have to look at different factors. I have to look at your past record. And I'll agree with the defense that the prior record on its face is not as egregious as many cases I see in my courtroom. Quite often you see a background filled with felonies and violence. But what I said was on its face. When you look at the record as it's worked through in the pre-sentence investigation, I'll agree with the state that there are some red flags that jump out at you that that show a level of violence that may have been a precursor. You know, when you look at the original case mentioned from Pewaukee from March of 2010, it looks like it's an underage drinking party. And when the officers come in, they find a bunch of people hiding, and they indicate they're about to do a search. And later there's people saying that they were being held in the home against their will. Kind of a weird comment to have on an underage drinking party. Ultimately, they find Mr. Anderson hiding behind an entertainment center. He's belligerent. He tells the police, "Fuck you, I hope you're proud to serve your country this way." He's then very coarse and his comments are obscene. He then urinates in a police vehicle and calls a female police officer a cunt. Inappropriate. Then we have the 2014 case where that involves the mother, where officers are dispatched to a location. They enter the home, they see, they make contact with the mother. She indicates that her son was in the kitchen. Officers approach and the response is, "What are you gonna do, shoot me?" And he runs out the door. He then jumps into his mother's vehicle and apparently steals the mother's vehicle and drives off. The mother indicates that when she returned home from work, he was acting strange. He was sweating profusely. He argued, he punched a vase, he caused it to fall to the floor. She calls her ex-husband.
So we're only about halfway through, and so far, definitely seems like a guy who, you know, deserves a second chance, right? Deserves a sentence reduction, deserves an appeal. No. Sounds like a guy who has never, ever had to accept responsibility for his actions, ever, and has walked through life just hurting people whenever he wants because he knows there's no repercussions for anything he's ever done. And this time, it seems like as he got a little older, he started taking it out on women. So he would date these women. There's previous encounters with other women where he had acted violent towards them. And it sounds like that's where he directed his violence was towards women. And, you know, you hear as we go further along what the judge has to say about it.
He pushes the mother into a room and shuts the door. He prevents her from exiting. He then breaks the phone. He's continuing to scream and yell and throw things, at which point she calls the police. Ultimately, what we find is that he returns to the residence. He gets into a physical altercation with Mr. Foos. She's informed that he had crashed her vehicle into the deck at the rear of the residence and fled on foot. Ultimately, we find that the mother's fiance confronts Mr. Anderson and he throws that person to the ground. He's able to get back in the house and to prevent Mr. Anderson from getting in. He suffered 3 to 4 broken ribs as a result of the altercation. Ultimately, they have to meet with Mr. Anderson at the hospital because it appears he suffered a broken collarbone. He's convicted ultimately of disorderly conduct because he says Mr. Foos pushed him down the stairs as he tried to gather his belongings. It's interesting when you see Mr. Anderson's comment about that because he just says that Mr. Foos just poked him. Sounds like a bit of a discrepancy there. Then we go on.
So as the judge brings up, more lying and no accountability from Maxwell Anderson, it is always someone else's fault. Always. It's always like, it's always someone else's problem, someone else started it. I was just here because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's just how he is. No, we are talking about Maxwell Anderson from Milwaukee, not Lachlan Young. Hey, Penguin, good to see you, my friend. Wendy R said, sounds like he's always run roughshod over everyone, then blames others. Exactly.
And we find the issue with the grandparents, and the grandparents call the police and they say that he needs someone to talk to about his mental health, and that he's smashing a glass in the sink, causing it to break. He goes in the basement, he punches a hole in the wall. He breaks the other phones. They have to go to a landline at a neighbor's, ultimately to call the police. It just sounds like he is to some extent out of control. He's ultimately on probation. He's given conditions of no drinking. He's given conditions of having anger management counseling. He tells the agent other people probably deserve to do anger management. I don't. He then goes on and tests positive repeatedly. To look at his explanations are ridiculous. At one point, he claims that he accidentally grabbed someone else's Red Bull that had liquor in it. But going through the repeated indication, it sounds like Mr. Anderson's the guy that does what he wants, when he wants, and he follows his own rules, not the rules imposed on him. And that's a frightening thing. I read through the defendant's version of what happened. And it starts off by indicating that he was skeptical to meet with the pre-sentence investigator because he did not receive a fair trial. And there's no reason to believe that this writer's report would be fair or impartial. Speaking about the trial, there's a constitutional right to a trial. Every person charged with a crime has a constitutional right to a trial. And we do not in any way penalize anyone for going to trial. It's also a constitutional right to be represented by counsel. And Attorney Cotton did his job, which is just his job to represent Mr. Anderson. That's under our Constitution, the rights that exist. Now, you get credit for taking responsibility. You get credit for resolving a case early. You get credit for stepping forward and saying what I did was wrong. Because usually this first step in rehabilitation is taking of responsibility. And we didn't have that here. That's why it's important to read what his version is. So you heard him say today that he didn't commit this crime. What he said about the offense was that they met for food and drinks and they proceeded to his apartment. And that's pretty much all there is to say, he said. He offered no other information as to what transpired that night. He later said that he regretted he did not walk Miss Robinson to her vehicle when she left his apartment, and he believed it was at that point she was abducted by an unknown assailant, quote, either from the alley or from my backyard, unquote. When asked how he accounted for his presence in the area where Miss Robinson's vehicle was set on fire, Mr. Anderson said that he was set up. He stated he was in the area to buy marijuana, and quote, and all it would have taken was for someone to know where I lived and where I'd be in the morning, unquote.
Wait, so someone picked you out of all people to set you up for a murder? Are you sure that you're the one that doesn't need the anger management and the psychology and the therapy? Mr. Anderson, I think that the judge is giving you more than her time of day right now. A lot of other judges would just slam the door behind you and be like, see you in 50 years, asshole. Because like she says, the first step is acknowledging that you did something wrong. You may have done some of the things, like she says, you get credit for doing some of the things right, but when they came to you and asked you for these final details about your offending, that's what they call insight into your offending. So this is the part in this pre-sentence investigation where they would have looked for that insight, which would have helped with your sentencing if you could have provided that investigator with something, I did this because I'm an angry asshole and I abuse women. I took her home and then I beat the shit out of her and then I chopped her up because I have unresolved issues and now I'm going to do time for it. If you had said anything like that, this judge would have been like, well, there you go. There's the step that we were looking for. The fact that you came into the courthouse after, sort of leading everyone on to believe that, oh, he's going to do the right thing and, he pled guilty or whatever. And now you're all like, oh, I didn't do anything and I'm looking forward to my appeal. Shows you've learned nothing, one, about how the court process works, and two, it shows that you can't overcome your own ego, even when you're sitting in the middle of a friggin' murder trial. It's your murder trial because your actions brought you here, no one else. And that's what you have not been able to demonstrate to the court, is that insight into why you're sitting in the courtroom. Ain't anyone else's fault. Ain't Sade's fault. It ain't the judge's fault. It ain't anyone's fault except for your own. And I'm surprised the judge is like not a million times more angry at him right now.
He would not tell the writer when or how he made the arrangements to purchase the marijuana, and then instead stated, quote, "I plead the fifth." He then went on to point to things that he claimed were egregious errors at the trial. He claimed that there was a video that showed the photos on the phone and that the state only played stills of the video. That wasn't the evidence at trial. Am I correct?
Yes.
He claims that the still photo that showed his hand grasping Miss Robinson's breast was part of a video and it was only a still that was shown. Incorrect, correct?
You're correct.
Okay. He indicated that at trial it was flaunted, the difference in age. And when I read that, I was somewhat shocked because I didn't really find that that was pointed out at all during trial. I mean, it was mentioned how old she was, but other than that, I didn't think that that was in any way an issue, and it barely even made it into my notes. So my point is, I thought it was interesting how his view of reality seems different from what I find truly transpired. And I found it at numerous points during the pre-sentence investigation. Looking through this pre-sentence investigation, his viewpoints were very inconsistent with the reality. I think the first issue relative to the mother's fiance, that was credibility. It sounds like he lied to law enforcement. He's asked, have you ever been involved in mental health treatment? Have you ever been in a mental health facility? Have you ever received treatment? He responds in the negative, but then we have the mother indicating that he was in an outpatient at Rogers. He indicates that he never made a suicidal attempt or had an ideology of said. But then we read about in the Navy how he was dismissed from the Navy due to a medical release, which appears to be related to the suicidal attempt in trying to hang himself. You have him saying about school, I did okay, but then you look at the history of how he did in school and his grades were pretty abysmal.
I think that what the judge is trying to demonstrate here is how Maxwell Anderson has a disconnect from reality. A lot of what he tells the court or what he tells investigators doesn't match with the actual facts about himself. Like you heard, he says he did okay at school. Well, I don't know who's been blowing smoke up your ass for the last 20 years, young man, but apparently, according to the judge who has your high school transcripts in front of her, apparently your grades are abysmal. So abysmal, unless you're Joey from Friends, abysmal does not mean good. So maybe you learnt the word abysmal from that episode of Friends where Joey thinks abysmal means good, because in this context it means bad. It means you did crap at school. And then you hear, other disconnects with reality, like she's going through the self-harm, mental health, and he's like, oh, I've never done anything like that. And they're like, we literally have a medical discharge from the military because of this issue, and you're telling us that you've never had this ideation before. He just seems like a guy who like just no responsibility about anything. No responsibility about his Navy career, no responsibility about his grades in high school, no responsibility about Sade Robinson, no responsibility about, like, he wanted to show more of a video in court of him basically essaying Sade. Basically, that's the way I'm going to say it. He's like, oh, you didn't show the whole thing. What, would you like us to show the court, your parents, her parents, everyone else around, what you did to that poor girl? I don't think we need to see it. I don't think it proves anything other than in your, like, it goes against you, not towards your argument. So I don't know why you're like, oh, they didn't show anything. They didn't show everything. It's just ridiculous. Rachel said the video evidence in this case was chilling. Yeah, I mean, there's a story from Australia, and I was when I heard that thing just before about how he tried to blame a like a random person who came from his backyard and abducted Sade. There was a case in Australia. Oh man, it was like a long time ago. I can't remember which one it is, but there was I do know which one it is. It is the Kapunda murders. So in Kapunda, the young guy, Jason Downey, when he was captured and started being interviewed and considered as a person of interest, he also blamed some random person with a shopping bag who broke into the Kapunda home and murdered that family. He's doing the same thing, and it's interesting that two people who are involved in really, really heinous crimes have both tried to push it off onto like imaginary people that don't exist. I've been set up. Well, Jason Downey did the same thing and talked about the same sort of, oh, it was this mysterious guy who broke in. Jason Downey actually wrote letters from jail to his own mother detailing about this random person who actually did the crime and it wasn't him. And it's interesting to hear Maxwell Anderson detail something similar. So don't know what psychologically pushes killers to sort of take this sort of defense, but interesting.
And just odd things, like he talks about how he purchased the home himself for $160,000, but the mother says, no, I told the dad to buy him the home. It just seems like he has a different view of reality than the rest of the world does. So when I look at the criminal history, which I'm bound to do, it reflects low-level misdemeanors, but the facts underlying those low-level misdemeanors are replete with points that raise your concern. I next have to look at whether he has a history of undesirable behavior, and I think I've charted through what basically I found in the pre-sentence investigation. As to his personality, character, and social traits, it appears that he has had employment. That's a positive. It looks like he jumps between bartending jobs at numerous facilities. But who is a person who would do this crime? What's the character underlying that? How can someone get to a point of inflicting such damage on a person, not only killing the person, but then dismembering? And then after that, discarding the body throughout the community. It's unconscionable, is where it comes down to.
The other thing is, Sade Robinson, some of her body, including I think her head, has never been located. If you really, really meant what you say to the court, if you really, really do have regret and apologize to her family, then you would tell them where the rest of Sade is. Like, that is the ultimate sort of relenting that you could do to the court and the family to try and make them whole again, is to give up where you dumped the rest of her, because she is not complete right now. She is separated in her human form, and scattered across Milwaukee. The one thing you could have done is to help officers locate the rest of her so that she could be laid to rest as whole and complete as she could be, and that would provide some sort of help to the family. I think that would provide them some peace, that they're not going to have to constantly look for parts of their daughter. And the fact that that hasn't happened, and you hear about all this kind of blaming other people, and some ninja was out the back of my home at the same time as I let Sade out of my home, and she walked to her car. That ninja jumped over my fence, snuck up behind her, abducted her, killed her, and then later that morning, when I was buying marijuana, was in the same place I was and framed me for Sade's murder. I don't think so. I don't think the FBI, in their database of all crimes that have happened since the 1950s, could find a crime as you describe. I think they could find another example. They'd be like, oh, I don't think we have anything like that. Right. Yeah, my guess is she's in the water too. But that would have been at least the minimum, like the bare minimum of showing regret, showing insight into your offending, like showing true, you know, compassion for your victim and the family. Like, that's the minimum you could do. And instead, you make everyone come to court, and then you stand there. You try to apologize, and then tell them that the trial was done incorrectly, and that you can't wait to appeal because you are innocent. You're just. I think the judge. I haven't watched all of this yet, but I would hope the judge would tell you at the end that you're not there. You're not ready. Hey, why am I playing in the background? I hope the judge will tell you that you're not ready for any sentence consideration or discount, because you're not hitting any of those marks that they look for in people's offending. All right, here.
I did read the letters that were supplied on behalf of Mr. Anderson, and I do agree. They paint a picture of a man who helped his family when in need, who cared for animals, who went out of his way to love and support his family. But they love him, and that's clear. And that weighs on his behalf. The fact that there are people out there that care and love him, that says something good. Quite often we do trials or we go to sentencing and there's no one here on the behalf of a defendant, which is really tragic and sad. So it says something good that a family does still care about him. I have reviewed the pre-sentence, and
By the way, I don't normally like attacking parents of like perpetrators, but I will say some of the information that I've read about Maxwell Anderson's parents, while they seemed like decent people, I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not nice people or whatever. I think the way they treated Maxwell didn't help. Like, you heard it there. The mom's like, "Oh, I told the dad to just buy him the house." So this is a young man that you have never taught the value of working for anything. You have never taught him that, a hard day's work. You basically just bailed him out of every life problem that he has ever had. He went to school, he failed. He went to the Navy, he failed. You were like, "Well, let's just buy him a home." Like, what is that? What have you ever taught him that would ever help him? You know, it says to me that you just used your money to purchase your way out of problems with him instead of actually trying to resolve the issues. And now look where you are. You're basically in a murder trial for your son. I'm not blaming the parents. I'm just saying it just seems like either they didn't know what to do either, or yeah, they just used their money to buy their way out of situations with him, and it may have led to part of this. So I definitely think there's something there. Yeah, I definitely that's what I was trying to get to, that his parents enabled him. Like, what kind of guy do you go and buy $160,000 house for? Like, it doesn't teach your son anything. It just teaches him that when he gets into trouble, he should run to mommy and daddy and ask for help. You stop doing that when you're like 11 and you learn to be like a bit more independent. It sounds like he never had that he never learned to be independent, and he just acted like a big child, a man child. That's exactly what Maxwell Anderson is. He's a 6'5" man child that just never learned to stand on his own 2 feet, because it sounds like he was constantly mollycoddled by the parents. So yeah, very similar to the Landrys, right? Very similar to them, but I think I don't think as bad as them. They are some of the most effed up people I've ever looked at in true crime that are not direct perpetrators. They are like his mom, Brian Laundrie's mom. She's one of the most trashiest human beings I have ever looked into ever in true crime. She is not a good person. She is a trash human being, and I hope she has a really shitty life for the rest of her life. She's a nasty, nasty woman, really nasty. Her lawyer can suck a banana too. Wendy, hey Wendy, how are you? Stephen Stern's parents too. Yeah, there's a theme here, right? A theme. By the way, we'll have more on Stephen Stern's, I think next week or the week after. I have some new things coming about Stephen Stern, so you'll hear them on this channel. We are working behind the scenes on some new documents and information from the Florida Police Department. That'll come at some point. Woman of Steel said, yeah, I agree with you guys. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. Hey, Permaculture, good to see you, my friend. Blaze, hey, Blaze, good to see you. Why don't the police use the cell phone and car data where the car stops to find where to put the body? Because he torched the car. Because he drove the car to the marina at one point, and then he was at the point, and then he dumped body parts off there. Then he drove it back right, and then he torched the vehicle. And I think they're still not quite sure what he did after that and where else her body parts might be. But yeah, he basically torched her car. So they may not have that much information other than it was here and it was sort of in this area, but we don't know anything else. So it's like positive reinforcement. Yeah, I agree. By the way, Blaze, thanks for your comment last night. I know a lot of people would like me to go back and start with Aaron Patterson from 2023 and then go till the end of the trial. So what ended up happening, I'll explain it for people who didn't read Blaze's comment. Blaze asked, how come you didn't end up doing the podcast that I had written? Okay. Because at the end of the trial, we were sort of told the way the evidence would happen slightly differently. And I thought I had more time. And instead, what happened was I got an email like 2 hours after sentencing. And it was like, not sentencing, the verdict. I got an email and it was like, here's all the evidence. And then I was talking to another media member and they're like, oh my God, my editor's going bonkers. We have to get this out now. And I'm like, wait, does that mean I have to get it out now? And I'm like, well, if I don't get it out now, they're just going to get it out. And it was like a race. So it was like, because we all got it at the same time. we all got the link at the same period of time. So when I got it, they got it, and we all started rushing and checking through all the documents and pulling them apart. So we sort of had to do that first, and it sort of screwed up the plans to do the sort of chronological podcast that we were going to do. Yeah, so that's what ended up happening there. But I know there's a lot of people who would like me to go back and start from day one in the Aaron Patterson timeline and work through. I'm happy to do that, but I would like a little break from Aaron just for a little while, because I've just been doing it for months on end, like nothing else, just Aaron every day for hours and hours a day. So we will do it. We have more Aaron Patterson this year. We have sentencing coming up in a couple of months. So we may do it around then. So I may, when I get notice that we have a sentencing date, I may do something around that point in time so we can all catch up together, and we can all sort of get to the sentencing and we all know the same thing. You know, you'll all know the entire timeline. And if you came to the channel late, see, the thing is, we sort of have like a 50-50 viewership. There's 50% of people who started with the channel back when I opened it, and they've been here for the entire journey. So they've been here since I followed Aaron Patterson, since the weekend when that lunch happened, and we were covering it as one of the very first videos on this channel. And then there's another group of people who sort of came in later, and they came in around the trial. So we sort of got a split viewership on the Aaron Patterson type thing. So yes, we can do it. Not right now. I want a little bit of a break and to do this type of thing and some more American true crime and do something different, just so my mind can do something different for a couple of weeks. Yeah. Woman of Steel said, I think someone with no care for anyone else but themselves can dismember a body. He didn't have very long. When you look at the timeline, so they came back, I think it was about 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock after they went on that date together, they went back to his property. Between, I think it's 7 and 9 or 7 and 8. That's when they see that Sade's phone stops communicating. And I think she had a wrist Apple Watchy Fitbitty type thing as well that stopped working. If that's the timeline, and then I think it's between 8 or 9 and then midnight. It's not a lot of time. Just think about if you're on a date, you are like, well, it's going really well. I definitely want to sleep with this girl. Great. That's a good night. I'm going to take it back to my place. And you get back there and then all the fun stuff starts happening. And then you kill her. What is your process after that? You only have about 4 hours. And somehow in that 4 hours, you have decided to dismember her, put her into the vehicle, and take her down to the water and dump her body and then torch her vehicle. You also, according to the evidence, went back to her property at some point. So I don't know what he was going to do. I have a feeling he thought about dumping her remains in her own apartment. So I don't know why he abandoned that idea, but it seemed like at one point he was going to actually dump her body in her own property. But he didn't end up doing that. But like, your timeline's so short. So you went from hot date with girl to dismembering and dumping body parts in the bay in 4 hours. You have to have something wrong in your head to just like go to that straight away. You're like, okay, sex with a girl, I'm gonna kill her. Now I'm gonna chop her up. Like, it's not okay. It's not normal. So, hey Kay, what's up? Hi from Great Britain. Hey, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I like your mushroom. Display picture. I'm actually wearing. You guys can't. Can you guys see it? You guys can't see it, but if I took this jumper off, I'm wearing a mushroom tank top under this hoodie. I'm wearing a mushroom tank top. I don't know if I can find it for you. Hold on. Um, I don't know if I can find the photo of where I bought it. I bought it just before I went to the trial. I can't find it, but if I ever find another photo of it, I'll show you. But or if I ever wear it with no hoodie in summer, I will show it to you. I'm just having a look through the website where I bought it, see if I can find the one I bought. I don't know if I've shown it on the channel, but I wore it on the day that Aaron was found guilty. I was wearing it at court, or in the courtroom. So I was wearing it. No one knows this. I haven't told anyone this yet, that I was wearing a psychedelic mushroom shirt during the verdict for Aaron Patterson. So that is a real thing that happened. Oh, I can't find it, guys. That sucks. If I ever find it, I will show it to you. Yeah, I can't find it. It's a shame. If I ever do end up finding the photo, I'll show it to you. Let's see it. Hey, permaculture. Mushrooms are the closest thing to living that vegetarians can eat. Oh. Lift my jumper? I don't think Mrs. Ping would like that. She's right here. Say hi. That's all you get. She is here, though. I didn't kill her. I did not dismember her. She is alive. Not yet. Later on. More than 4 hours, unlike Maxwell Anderson. All right.
I've taken into consideration what's stated therein. I have to look at whether you're remorseful, and I don't think you're remorseful in any way. I don't think that you have gotten to the point of taking any form of responsibility for what transpired. The investigation that was conducted in this case, it was a dedication by numerous law enforcement officers to work tirelessly to put together the pieces to determine exactly what happened underlying this matter. I do think that jury trials, they do re-victimize the victims. It's hard to sit and watch a trial. It's hard to see the details, and it's hard, not even to have known Miss Robinson, to wipe from my mind what you saw during that trial. And I didn't love her. I didn't know her, but you did. And that's a hard last thing to have in your minds. So I do understand how trials do re-victimize the victims.
I agree with the judge. At the Patterson trial, I definitely saw the effects of re-victimization to the Patterson and Wilkinson family when I was sitting in that trial, and I could see, especially when the daughters of the Wilkinson family and the children of the Patterson family gave evidence in the court, it was really hard to watch. When we watch it, it's very black and white. It's like, oh, what questions did they ask them? Oh, what evidence did they give? But when you actually in person see these people up on the stand, having to tell the court these really intimate details about their mum and dad, and how they felt when their mum and dad died, and where were they when they found out that their parents had died from mushroom poisoning. Like, I 100% agree. And I believe that's probably why some of the family did not sit through the entirety of the trial. They sort of did their sort of portion and they just left. They're just like, it was too much for them. So I get how it re-victimizes it, and me getting to see it in person and actually see it, like, cause no, before this I just watch it like you guys, like on this video, but actually getting to see the people in the gallery, see them when they give evidence, and that it gives a whole other perspective to like how hard these court days are. When we watched Ian, when we watched the Wilkinson and Patterson children, when we watched even Simon, these are, very difficult. So you imagine Sade's family having to sit there and, watch those videos, and that video of her breast being groped, and that, like, that's nothing that your mum ever wants to see. Your mum doesn't ever want to see you being sexually touched or whatever. Like, it's a crime and sexually touched at the same time. But yeah, like, it's not like, it must be some of the hardest days of a parent's life to have to do this and sit through a trial of this magnitude. Oh, he has 3 other siblings. It's the same for the Wilkinson side. So the Patterson side had 4 children. The Wilkinson side had 4 children. So they both have 4 children under Gail and Heather and Don. No, Don and Gail, and Heather and Ian both had 4 sets of children. So there's 8 of them across the 2 different last names. So Wilkinson and Patterson. But yeah.
So when I look at the character of the defendant, I find the character wanting. When I look to the severity of the offense underlying this matter, I do sit in homicide court, and I can tell you on a daily basis, you don't understand why things happen. Almost every case, the victims come in and they want to know why. Why did it happen? Why did you have to do this? Why did you have to get to that point? And more often than not, there's no answer. We never know. It never makes sense. There's never do you walk away and say, oh, I understand why that transpired. It just doesn't happen. I can also tell you that, I've read through all these letters, and they talk about give us justice, right? Give us what's due. But I can't give you justice. There's no way you will walk out of here, no matter what I do today, and high five each other. There's no way you walk out of here and you say justice is served, because justice would be having Miss Robinson back to you. Justice would be having her with you for the rest of your lives. And you never get that. To hear about her, she was an innocent victim. She was a girl that I would hope all young ladies strive to be. To hear about working 2 jobs to reach her goals, to be going on for schooling and further education, but then to hear about how much she was loved in the community by almost everyone that touched her. It was interesting to go through the letters, because I got the letters that were from who I expected, the mother, the father, the sister, the loved ones. I also got a letter from the real estate agent that worked with Ms. Scarborough. I got a letter from citizens. And I can't tell you, I really debated whether or not I would share this, but there was a letter from a citizen that doesn't know Miss Robinson, never met her. And this is what he said, or she said, I don't know. The person signed it.
I think that was a really good talk from the judge about things like motive. Because sometimes when, like she says, she sits in on many murder trials every year because that's her job. And like she says, a lot of times when you walk out of these trials, you don't know why these things transpired. And if you are even lucky enough to get a motive or a reason or something like that, it will never fully explain what happened in that moment. I think that was very well articulated by the judge. But a member of the citizen, like a member of the community, wrote in saying how much Sade's story impacted them, and the judge is gonna read it out.
a stargazer. In pertinent part, it says, Sade Robinson was not a torso. She was not evidence. She was a full, living, radiant human being. She had dreams, plans, and a future she was building with pride. She had people who loved her and that still love her, more than words can hold. And she had a right to live, to breathe, to laugh, to grow old. That right was stolen in a way so vile, so deliberate, that it tears at the fabric of what we call humanity. You, Maxwell Anderson, didn't just kill her. You carved her and you discarded her like garbage. And you tried to erase her body from this earth piece by piece. And for what? Not even you had the courage to say. You sat there in court as if you were a man. You didn't snap, you planned. You didn't panic, you dismembered. And still you offer no answers, no remorse, no ounce of dignity that you stripped from her. But here's what you couldn't take. You could not mutilate her soul. You could not silence the scream of justice. You could not prevent an entire community from rising up in Sade's name. We know who she was. We know what she could have become, and we will not let your darkness define her. To the family, there are no words that can hold the weight of your pain, but I need you to know we see you. We mourn with you. We love you. You have the right to tears. You have the right to rage. You have the right to every ounce of justice this system can give. May you feel her arms in the wind. May you hear her laughter in your memories. May you know that she did not die forgotten, she died loved, and we will remember her always. Maxwell Anderson, you are not the center of this story. She is, and she will always be. Sade Robinson lives on in light, in truth, and in love. And you will be remembered only as a man who tried to destroy something beautiful, but failed. You know, I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, I really like this judge as well. I think what she's trying to do, and a lot of people may say she's being all like, very sentimental and, teary and stuff. I don't think that's what she's trying to demonstrate. I think what she's trying to demonstrate is this is how impactful his offending has been, is that it's moved the community. And while for a period of time it upset the community, now it has only unified them together against him for what he did and what he did to Sade and her family. And I think it was an interesting way of highlighting that by picking a letter from a member of the public who wrote in to express their thoughts about, what happened to her. Yeah, he is a cold, calculating killer. It takes a lot to actually cut up someone. And like I said, the time frame is not. This is not like, imagine if it was like a DV situation. Doesn't make it any better. I'm not saying it does, but just imagine like it was in a couple and they were in a home and there was a fight that broke out, and the man, because apparently that's what the statistics tell us, the man kills the woman, and then he's like, oh crap, what am I going to do? The body's sitting there, and then like 12 hours pass, and he's like, well, I got to do something with this body. And then he decides, well, about the only thing I can do is cut it up. But that's not what happened here. This is small time frame, less than a quarter of a day, less than 6 hours of time between when they got to that apartment and when he's dumping her body in the bay. I mean, this is not, some sort of like, oh crap, I have to do something with this. This is a guy that almost seemed like he wanted to do that to her. I just don't know how you go from date night with a very beautiful young lady to somehow killing her an hour later to then chopping her up and dumping her around the area. It's really horrific offending. Chipmunk said people that kill are evil. It's a whole other level in how they discard the body. Yeah. And she still hasn't been located. I mean, they've located parts of her. They've located, I think, her torso, a leg, and an arm, but they're still missing, I think, another leg, an arm, and her head. And it would be nice if they could find the rest of her to lay her to rest as one person. Woman of Steel said most judges are good people. I think there are many more good ones than bad ones. Definitely. Rachel said, I did think he picked her up off it. I think he did pick her up off a dating site. Yeah, they definitely got together off a dating app thing. That doesn't excuse it, though. That's how young people do it these days. All right. Do we have more about his insight here?
Offense. You know, to take away a child, I can't even think of a word, horrific. It's beyond imaginable for a parent to think of not being able to know if your children are dead or alive, and then to learn that they were dismembered and disgraced to the extent that this poor girl, her body endured, is beyond understanding. So the severity of the offense, I'll agree. It's definitely at the top of some of the worst homicides I've seen in this court. Looking at the impact on the community, I read that letter because I thought it stated to a great extent what we're here about. You know, what my job is to do, it is to hold you accountable and to punish you. It is also to protect society. And that's about how do we figure out if at some point you're redeemable? How do we figure out if at some point you will change your mindset? You will get the therapy and education to be at a point where you will be safe to have in the community. Now, part of that goes into the fact that you don't take responsibility. You know, I listened to the evidence. I watched what was introduced during the course of the trial. There is no explanation that I've heard that's valid as to why you would be walking away from that burning car. You know, those photos were not of a girl in a video enjoying life. Those photos of you grasping the breast that was ultimately shaved from her body, with her face plastered into that, I don't recall if it was the ottoman of the couch, the way that her body was positioned, there's no explanation for that. I don't need to rehash the evidence. I've gone through all my notes from this trial, and I think that Attorney Vance Cruzan did a nice job of summarizing and pertinent part the details. But there's no answer that you briefly provided in this pre-sentence that makes even a hint, that even resonates with a hint of truth. So how do we protect society from a man who clearly has had darkness in his past, who engaged in behavior that is, it's the facts that you see written in horror novels? That's what we have to determine. And you know, it isn't easy. I can tell you that when you think about, is there ever something redeemable in a person? You'd like to say at some point there is. And I can tell you,
I hope the next words out of her mouth are, I could not find anything redeemable about you, because there really has been nothing redeemable about Maxwell Anderson at all. Not even 1%. Like, she's looking for a kernel of something that she could pin to future change, you know, advancement in his insight. And I hope these next few words are that she was unable to find it, because I've not seen it.
tell you that at the points in life where I've come to the conclusion that there isn't anything redeemable, you know, you do think about, I think it takes away a little piece of my soul. How come I couldn't find anything good? How come I can't find anything that I can say at some point you'll be a better person? So ultimately at sentencing, considering the seriousness of the offense, your character, and the needs of society, This is clearly not a probation case. Probation would unduly depreciate the seriousness of the offense and isn't even allowable under our law. You are sentenced to a term of life imprisonment, and that is what the penalty is for a jury of your peers ultimately coming back and convicting you on first-degree intentional. In this case, I didn't see a restitution request.
We are asking for a restitution hearing and we've pre-selected a date.
Thank you. We'll be setting restitution off to be determined at a later date. Relative to this matter, I have considered the seriousness of the offense. I have weighed your character, and as I've indicated, I find it wanting. I've also reflected on the needs of society, and are you a good risk? And sadly, you're not. As to my sentence, relative to the nature of the offense, you are not eligible for challenge incarceration. You're clearly not eligible for any substance abuse programming. Restitution will be determined at a later date. You do need to submit a biological specimen to the state crime lab and pay the surcharge thereof. You do have the right to appeal, and if indigent, you have the right to the assistance of the public defender. What you need to understand is that a notice of intent to pursue post-conviction relief must be filed in the trial court within 20 days after sentencing for your rights to be preserved. You have been convicted of a felony. You may never possess a firearm. If you do, you're looking at 10 years of imprisonment, a $25,000 fine, or both. You may not possess body armor at any time in the future. If you do, you'll be subject to 15 years of imprisonment, a $50,000 fine, or both. You cannot vote in any election. I'm going to waive all non-mandatory fees, costs, and assessments. I'm ultimately going to want payment for restitution first and foremost. So we're going to determine that on a later date.
So if you don't know what she just did, she basically waived all costs associated probably with the trial and any of these other add-on type things that she sentenced him to, because she said that she wanted restitution to come first. Now, what does that mean? That means that restitution, most likely to the family, could be legal costs for their side too, could be any type of monetary restitution for killing their daughter, would go to the family first and foremost, which I thought was really nice. She's a very insightful judge. She did a good job in this hearing of staying away from being very sensationalist, especially with some of the details of this trial. You heard a little bit in her address to the court. You heard a little bit about this this evidence, and I have seen some descriptions of it, of this photo that was shown to the court. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I want to see it. Of her face being pushed down into an ottoman and him grabbing at her breast. And, you know, this shows you kind of what happened behind closed doors when they got back to that apartment. It didn't seem like the judge said, didn't seem consensual and didn't seem like she was having a fun time. It seemed like it was more of a R-word type situation. So yeah, well, no, he does. He has property. He has property in his name. According to the court, it's worth $160,000. So he does have some monetary assets that may now get foreclosed or taken as part of that restitution process. If it hasn't already, I haven't checked. But it's sort of similar what's going on with Erin Patterson. They applied to the court to freeze her home. So her home in Leongatha is now freezed under a court order, can't be transferred, sold, or given away at this point in time. They may have done something similar with Maxwell Anderson as well. Joe Neal said, did the state establish there was intercourse? I believe there was. I believe that they were able to, well, I think there was some video evidence of this. I don't know if I haven't checked the trial documents, and I am going to request them from the courthouse so I can read through them all. There was a blood stain found in his basement. When they DNA tested it, um, it didn't come back as Sade Robinson. And I want to know whose blood that came back as, and I don't know if it was addressed during the trial. And I would love to know if it was addressed, whose blood is it? Because did he have a woman down there before? Yeah, it was a video. Yeah, there was a video. The way I would describe it is non-consensual sexual acts. Yeah, that's right. That's why. Are you guys behind me a little bit? That's basically what I said. So that the money that he does have doesn't have to go to these fees that she ordered through the sentencing. Instead, the restitution comes first, which should go to the family. It may go to their legal fees. I don't know if they got a public defender or I don't know, but it'll probably go to the family to make their lives somewhat easier. So, hey Taz, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Not this guy. Not there. There are some people like the judge told the court. Every time she sentences someone, she looks to see if there are any redeeming qualities in that person for now and in the future. And she said in Maxwell Anderson, she could not find any redeeming qualities for now or in the future, and that's why he has been sentenced to life behind bars. So never to be released. I hope it would be nice if the city could rename today as Sade Robinson Day, and instead of everyone remembering that Maxwell Anderson was sentenced today, that we all just have a big celebration of Sade's life every year on this day, and then we just forget about him and just focus on her. That would be great. I'd like that. I would be a donator to that day. I would donate so people could have some more alcohol and food on that day at a giant city party. Ping would help sponsor it for the town. I think that would be a great idea. Because the idea is that we forget about him. He goes to his dark jail cell, and we don't ever mention his name ever again. But we do mention hers. We try to keep her spirit alive, and we try to snuff his out by not talking about him no more. So yeah, I like that idea. I don't know if they'll do it, but I would be up to helping sponsor that event for the town. I would like that. Yes, I think that's why I was saying they should make today Sade Robinson Day, and if people go, why is today Sade Robinson Day? You just go, well, because it is. Is there a reason behind it? No, it's just we just like to celebrate her name today. Rachel said the community really cares and came together for Sade. Yeah, I heard they already did a couple of events over the last couple of months for her and her family, and I thought that was really nice. Wisconsin has life without parole. Pretty sure they have DP too. Pretty sure. Hold on. Do they, or did they take it away? Oh, it does not have DP. It got abolished in 1853, becoming the first state to permanently abolish it for all crimes. Isn't that a shame for Maxwell Anderson? Isn't that a shame? Because any other state in America, he'd be going to the spicy injection. He'd be heading to the Mr. Zappy. He'd be heading over there and getting strapped to a gurney in 15 to 20 years' time. ultra liberal, is it? I can't tell you. I've never been there. Alternative life imprisonment without parole. The last execution that happened in Wisconsin was in Kenosha County in 1851. There you go, 1851. The bacon chair, the human bacon chair, coming to a prison near you. It's not funny, Ping. Don't make jokes about DP. Hold on, why is my phone buzzing? Oh. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. And thank you to my other friend who said for next trial or whatever. We are looking for a new trial. We had one this week. After looking into it deeper, it didn't suit what we do on this channel. We do criminal trials on this channel. So we do criminal sort of undertakings in the Supreme Court. While this trial is in the Supreme Court, it falls under some different things, and it's not what we would normally do. It's not like Aaron Patterson. It's not like Maxwell Anderson. It's got some differentiations that I can't explain to you. Unfortunately, legally, I can't tell you. I can just tell you that it doesn't suit what we normally do, even though from the outside it does look like it would. Upon further reading, it wouldn't. It doesn't suit what we would do on this channel. So unfortunate, because I think the story was one, it might be good for reporting, but no. Deeper looking at it, it's just not. You sure you don't want to come to Melbourne and commit a crime? We can wait 12 to 18 months for you to go on trial. What else do we have this year? I don't know. There's a couple of other trials coming up. There's one in September, one in October, but they're not cases that we've ever done on this channel. They're not ones that we've ever talked about, but they are big ones that would be happening in Melbourne. We may go look at them. The next ones after that would be Samantha Murphy, the trial for Samantha Murphy's killer next year. We will be going to that in the Supreme Court. That is April 2026. And then there's another murder trial next year that we're going to as well. And that is for the girl who was girl who was killed and then put into the suitcase in Melbourne, and then not suitcase, fridge. She was killed and then put into a fridge, and then the fridge was taken around Melbourne. I've already talked to you guys about it a few times. So those two are next year. We're looking for something to sort of finish out 2025 with. We do have Aaron Patterson's sentencing coming up, and I will be in court for that sentencing. Then we have the sentencing for Lachlan Young. I will be at Lachlan Young's sentencing as well. So we have two sentencing hearings coming up before the end of 2025, and I'll be at both of those. So if you haven't seen our coverage of Lachlan Young, I think it was about a week ago, I ran you through the very short trial, because they got a change of plea halfway through the trial. I've ran you through a bunch of it. If you think there's still things that you would like to know about it, leave a comment under that video and we may revisit it. I still have my trial paperwork from that particular one, and we can relook at it again. But yeah, we'll see. Donna Adelson's trial? Who's Donna Adelson? Who's Donna Adelson? I'm not sure who this is. Seems like an older lady. Donna Anderson trial order states turnover raw data. Yeah, let me see if I can find something that we can both watch because I don't know it. This was 2 weeks ago. WCB.
Continuing coverage now, the trial of Donna Adelson appears on track to start just over a month from now after another court appearance for her today. WCTV's Capital City correspondent Matt Hoffman was in the courtroom and is now joining us live outside the courthouse. Matt, I understand it was a quick but informative hearing. Fill us in.
Yeah, Jacob, it was. And the judge made it crystal clear. He is not moving that August 19th trial date. Judge Everett ruled prosecutors and the defense will at least try and pick the jury before he rules on changing the location of the trial. On Friday, he gave both sides more time to file motions, even though that deadline had technically passed. The new deadline, though, will not extend the trial date.
Both parties needed to see what you intend to raise as pretrial legal issues that the court needs to rule upon. There's not going to be a trial by surprise, either for the state or for the defense. Am I making myself clear?
Now, the judge will allow Donna Adelson's defense access to raw data from her son's phone. Judge Everett asked if that would create yet another conflict of interest between Donna's lawyers and her son, but the defense said there will be no conflict. The new date for final motions is July 21st. The judge said,
Yeah, I think I've got better trials to do than this one out of the USA. There is there's the Long Island trial that'll come up in the next probably a year. There's a bunch of others that we've been following. There's the girl in Florida who put her baby in the bin in the dormitory room, which I want to follow. There's like 50 others that we've covered over the last couple of years that I want to see. So there's plenty of trials to go around in America. So I don't think I will be covering this one. There's probably other channels that are way more in depth in it. Covering trials is not easy, especially to have a actual educated background in the trial information. It's you have to devote basically your whole life to it for a period of time, sort of like what I did with Aaron Patterson. You have to sort of devote every waking moment to it, especially if you're actually at the trial. And I don't want to half-ass it for you and try and cover something that I don't really understand the background for it. So I'm sure there's great other channels that are covering it that you can watch. I just won't be doing it. But I think we've got there's a whole bunch that are about to come up. There's one in Colorado that I've been watching that we may do. Hold on. Yeah, there's one in Colorado that I'm looking into. That's the one where the father put the baby. Why are they all putting babies and stuff? He put the children into the concrete and into the car. The children that hadn't been seen. I think it's Jesus and Yasina, and they were the two little children that hadn't been seen in like 5 years. So I think that one's coming up for one of the parents in the next few months. I want to cover that one. And there's a bunch of others. Like there's so many trials in the US. There's plenty of true crime work to go around for true crime creators. There's plenty. Never heard of that one, the Yasina. We covered it on this channel. Hold on. Jesus. No, Yasina. There was, yeah, Suarez. Is that? No, that's not them. Yeah, Dominguez, Jesus and Yacina Dominguez. They were found in a storage unit in Pueblo. This was a while ago, so I know this one's coming up. Oh, they got actually. Oh, there's an update. I didn't know this because I've been stuck at the trial. They did get an update. Okay, let's watch the update.
Connection to the death of his two children after their bodies were discovered encased in concrete and in a suitcase. Jesus Dominguez pleaded guilty today to one count of second-degree murder. Dominguez and his girlfriend Karina Manjarrez were arrested back in February 2024 after the remains of his child were discovered encased in concrete at a storage facility. His other child was found in a suitcase in the trunk of a car in Pueblo. The children had been missing since 2018. It is unclear when Dominguez will get sentenced.
Okay, so no trial for that one. We ain't going to trial. He pled guilty. I know there was supposed to be a trial coming up, but it looks like he changed his plea to guilty. I am not going to be angry about that. I think that is great. That saves everyone a trial and having to hear the details of these poor little kids, these little kids that were found. They had been missing for longer than they had been alive. They were only like 2 and 3. They had been missing for like 5 years and no one had seen them. And then they found them in this storage center, encased in concrete. So it was a really horrible story.
Suspects are in court in connection to the remains of two little kids that were found. I want to warn you, some of these details are just really hard to hear in this case. Jesus Dominguez and Karina Manjarrez are in court for a first appearance. It just started at 9 o'clock. Police tell us the remains of a young girl were found encased in a concrete in a Pueblo storage unit. Officers tell us remains of a young boy were later found in a suitcase inside of a car. Investigators say the children were last seen in 2018. Both suspects are facing first-degree murder charges, and they're being held in the Pueblo County Jail on a $2 million bond. We have a reporter listening into this court hearing right now. We'll let you know what happens.
Yeah, that photo of Yasina always troubled me. It always seemed like there was something wrong. It just I don't know how to explain it except for yeah, it's this photo here. I'll show you. Rory, can you stop clawing me? Go away. Hey, come on. Get out from my chair. Here, this photo here. And this is Jesus here. But it was this photo. It didn't seem right. Like, why are they huddled in a corner? I mean, the little boy looks fairly happy, but that little girl does not look happy. In these little kids, they were missing for longer than they had ever been alive. They had been missing for like 5 years, went missing in like 2019, and no one had seen them since 2019 to 2024 when they discovered one of their bodies in a storage locker. Then they found the second one later on. Yeah, but I'm glad we got a guilty plea. That's good. They can F off and die in a jail cell now. Good luck to them. Have fun. How dare you hurt those little kids? It's very sad. Here's one of them, Corena Minjares. There's one of them. And here's this other one that looks like he belongs on a Temu poster for a Halloween poster. There's Jesus Dominguez and then Corena. These two are the mother and father of these kids. So they can piss off. No, only the father. Only the dad did. I don't know. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, so apparently Corena told a relative that her life would be so much easier without the children, according to a detective who was testifying. Hey, hey. Sorry, the cat, yeah, our cat is being very naughty. I built a new, what do you call it? Like a clothes era today, to dry clothes on in the house. I built a new one this morning because the old one broke, and big fluffy cat just tried to climb the bed sheets and like climb to the top of it. It's really high. It goes almost to the roof, and she just tried to like claw her way to the top of the bed sheets. She's very naughty, fluffy cat. But yes, here, what were we talking about? We're trying to look it up. Yes. So, a Colorado father and his jealous partner are accused of murdering his children by another woman after they were found in a suitcase and encased in concrete. They're saying here that Minjares and Dominguez were arrested and charged with counts of murder and abuse of a corpse nearly 10 months later at an October 18 preliminary hearing for the pair. Investigators took the stand to relay their findings for the judge to determine whether there was probable cause for both defendants. At the hearing, blame. So apparently the father placed the blame on the girlfriend, suggesting that she was jealous of the kid's biological mother. She pointed to family members' accounts claiming that she believed Dominguez was cheating on her with the children's mother. The officer told the court that both the storage unit and the car where the children's remains were found were registered under her name. Interesting. The 37-year-old apparently confessed to one of her friends not once, but twice in half a year, according to a detective. On one occasion, she allegedly told her friend that both children died in 2018, adding that she and Dominguez were doing drugs one evening and found Yasina unconscious behind the back seat later. The detective testified that she admitted to someone else 6 months later that Jesus Jr. died the exact same way. Oh, really? Did they? Did they? Just magically died in the back seat of the car, did they? Really? You want us to believe this? I don't believe it. That doesn't make any sense at all. So you were doing drugs in the front seat of the car, and magically you turn around and the kid is dead. Unless you were giving them the drugs too, I don't believe you. I think you are talking absolute BS. You're both just absolute losers, both of you. This person, loser. This person, loser. Both of you are absolute trash human beings. Let me see. I want to search her name because he pled guilty, but what did she do? Let me look for Corinna. I don't see like what happened to her. On Thursday, Jesus pled guilty to second-degree murder. But what did she do? She must be going to trial. Yeah, okay. Dominguez scheduled back in court. It sounds like she's going back to court at some point. Sounds like she's going to go to trial. Yeah, I can't see a court update for her. Only he pled guilty. He took a plea deal. Here we go. So Jesus Dominguez took a plea deal. That's how this ended. This only happened about a couple of weeks ago, on July 10th. So July 10th, but what happened to her? So he's going to be sentenced on September 12th of this year in about a month and a half. But what about Corinna? They must have given him the plea deal so they could get her. That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing they believe she killed the children and they gave him the plea deal so that he'll testify against her. I'm guessing that's what's going on because they don't often offer one plea deal and not to the other for no reason. They normally want the one party that is the lesser sort of offender to roll on the other person and testify at their trial for the plea deal. So I'm guessing that's what is going on. Yeah, it sounds like she's going to go to trial. Because I can't see anything about a plea deal for her, only for Jesus. Yep. No plea deal for her. So she's going to go to trial. Ah, yes. Okay. Some more information. So in this plea deal, part of the plea deal includes him cooperating with the district attorney's office in return for testifying in his girlfriend's trial. I had a feeling that was what was going on, because that's what they like to do. There you go. So he got the plea deal, so he will have to testify and cooperate with the DA to nail her. So there you go. They don't want him, they want her. They think that she's the one who most likely killed the children, not him. He's complicit because they're his children. They're not her biological children, they're his. And because he was there and complicit in the offending, he will serve some sort of time. But they want the person who killed the actual children, which is her, which is Corena. So there we go. Corena will go to trial. Jesus is going to be forced to testify against her due to the plea deal. So we'll see when that goes to trial. I'll be there. I will get access to that trial when it eventually gets to that point, and we will cover the sentencing for Jesus Dominguez in September. So we'll do that in September for you. Interesting. That is a long time coming. That has been going on for about almost 2 years, this one. Here's the one that'll go on trial. That's her there. She is probably gonna she is the one who most likely killed the children. So the most she'll get is life without parole. What's he going to get? It says his sentencing range is between 16 and 48 years in prison. So he's still got quite a sentence that he could get due to the plea deal. Sounds like he's going to be in prison for a long time. So there you go. 16 to 48 years in prison for the plea deal. So there you go. All right. I want to show you the investigation into Ladybird Lake. Here, Ladybird. So I don't often believe the reporting by the Daily Mail, but at the same time, it is interesting. Now I'm going to take you to Fox 7 in Austin.
The Ladybird Lake deaths have caught people's attention with speculation surrounding the possibility of... Yeah, please.
So I'll take you to. So we've covered a lot of stories from Ladybird Lake over the years, and I wanted to show you this. I'm not going to read it all, but apparently 19 bodies have been pulled from Austin's Ladybird Lake since 2022, and there has been rumors of a serial killer, and we've covered that on this channel several times. Here's some of the people who have died, but they range in age from 15 to 81. And I mean, every year it seems to be like more and more people wind up in Ladybird Lake. But I don't know. I know a lot of people think that there really is a serial killer, but they have a full list of the names here from 2022, and you can see. So the first one is 20 and Hispanic, 59. It was a black male. And then it was another one, a 30-year-old black male, a 49-year-old white Hispanic male, And then that was ruled a accidental drowning. See, a lot of them accidental drowning. This one's ruled an S word. Kyle Thornton. He was a male, 56 years of age. He's a black male. Another one here, accidental drowning, male, black male, 23. And then this one, Amy M. Hine in 2024. She's a female, one of the very few females, most of them males. Female, 49, a white female. This one, unknown male, aged between 30 and 49, on the 29th of September 2024, unknown name, and the cause of death is pending. And then this one, Jamie Tamares, pending male, 81 years old, and he's a Hispanic white male. And then this one, Clifton Axtell, unknown cause of death, male, and he's 40, and he was a white male, non-Hispanic. So this is not even the full list. I'm sure there's more than this. This is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is only 11. They said there's 29. So this is only like about half the people that have died. And they're saying here, Axtell, he's 40, died in March 2023. An autopsy concluded that he might have fallen, entered the water, or suffered a natural event once in the water. Okay, a natural event like being in the water? I don't know. And then there was this lady, Thai Lang Nguyen. She was 73, and she died last year on December 1 in the lake. Here's a map. You can see where a lot of the people entered it. So it's pretty random. It's not like they sort of all enter in the same place. This is sort of where their bodies were found. They all seem to be grouped up after the bridge. So most of them seem to be up here near the on this side of the bridge. Here, there's a couple down the other end, but most of them up through here. And you can see Ricky Parks, Jason John, Kyle Thornton. There's Thai Lang Nguyen. And who's this? Kyle Thornton. Jennifer Atkinson, an unknown male. Clifton Axtell was there. Moga Dogali. I don't know what kind of name that is, but there you go. And then there was two down the end, John Hayes Clark and a male with the last name Lopez. So there you go. You sort of get an overview. And the colors denote the years. Red is 2022, blue is 2023, green is 2024, and gray is 2025. Can we go up and can we go down? So it's an incomplete map. I don't see any. So we can sort of go there. So there you go. The gray is actually the black dot on here. So she's the one from 2025, the female. So we go, they're the ones, the original ones from 2022. These are the ones from 2023. 2024 were grouped up here. And then that one, Jennifer Atkinson from 2025. I heard that a lot of these could be people who were a lot of these people could be, drinking or whatever. Rachel said you should talk to Joe Schmo about Ladybird Lake. He's done some research and stories on it. I think we've done like 7 or 8 videos on Ladybird Lake over the years. I think we've done a bunch of them too. I can talk to Joe about it. We may have notes that we can combine about Ladybird Lake because we've both done extensive research on it. Like I think this map is not complete. There's no way, because I know last year alone in 2024 there was a whole heap, not 2. There was at least 5 last year. And then in 23 there was more than this. Because I remember when we first started covering it, there was like all these males that had fallen in in the nightclub district near, I think it's near up here, and they had fallen in the waterway somewhere around here, and people were saying it could have been a serial killer. So I am dubious about their map. I don't think it's 100% complete. I think their map is a little, incomplete. Yeah, see? This is a better map. There you go. See what I mean? There's more than what they were saying. This is the map that I know and how many people have been in that waterway. There you go. There's a better overview. Why they had that other map that only had some people in it, I don't know. But there you go. There's a better overview. Some of them were people who couldn't swim. At least a couple of them were. Some of them had been drinking. Some of them had been on nights out in the district. So I don't think there is C. Taylor. I don't think there is anyone. I don't think I have a breakdown of like who is from Austin and who might be a visitor to the area. I think the majority of them lived in the area. Is that where the ledge is? I don't know. We can have a look. Here, Ladybird Lake. We can go down and have a look in Austin. So Ladybird Lake in Austin runs from, so the Colorado River down in this section, right? So this is the big open end, not open end, but the largest bit of the river. And it sort of runs through here. And it's the Colorado River / Ladybird Lake. And this is the bit where a lot of the people had sort of fallen in. So this is Rainy Street here. And apparently it has a lot of nightlife, like especially on the weekends around here in what they call downtown Austin. And a lot of the people that had entered the water, they believe, may have been on this walkway through here. So you see there's like a bit of a walkway. If you come in off Rainy Street, there's this bike trail. People reckon that this is sort of the entry point for a lot of the people. That's why they started calling it the Rainy Street Ripper, was because, they may have entered the water in this region. And then you could go up here. There's a rowing club. There's a boat ramp here. That looks like a boat ramp. Sort of looks a bit like private property, actually. And then you go through here. The bike trail continues, and bodies have been found all along here. And here's the double bridges. So South Congress Avenue Bridge, and then there's another one, South First Street Bridge, and there's been bodies found under here too. And then you keep going up, and there's another one, Pflugerville, where this is not Pflugerville, but this is Pfluger Pedestrian Bridge. So there's a pedestrian cycling path that crosses the lake area up here. So pretty cool bridge, pretty cool. And there's another bridge here, 343. What is that? South Lamar Boulevard. So keep going up here. There's some more. There's some more of the river. It goes for quite a distance up the Colorado River. So, and then you end up at the dam, the Tom Miller Dam. So it sort of ends up here at the Tom Miller Dam. So there you go. There's the big dam. And if we zoom out, you'll see sort of like the outline of what they sort of consider Lake Ladybird. Although the Lake Ladybird sort of like from here sort of to the second bridge here. That's sort of the end of it. Although the red outline says it's all the way down to the dam, but I'm pretty sure locals would tell you it sort of ends here. But yeah, there you go. So the big one that they were talking about is right here, Rainy Street. This sort of where you come off here and onto the walkway, there's a restroom here. And don't know, people reckon that people were falling in after coming in off Rainy Street and somehow entering that waterway off this path. So there you go. Yeah, they did. They put in $1 million worth of lights and safety improvements around the lake. That was supposed to happen last year. They actually had a locally funded but for $1 million. So it was a lot of money. They were going to improve lighting, barriers to the water, and CCTV. Did it change anything? I have no idea. They do have cameras and they do have lights. Hold on, I'll find the article about the spending money on the lights.
Improvements along the Rainy Street trailhead are almost done after community members called for better lighting and more safety improvements. This comes after several drownings at Ladybird Lake. KVU's Isabella Basco spoke with Austinites about the changes.
John Langmore has lived in Austin about 30 years and runs along Ladybird Lake 5 to 6 days a week. He's always noticed something's been missing.
When you run early in the morning and it's dark, you realize just even, where you step, you're always a little concerned of where you step. So, you definitely feel the absence of lighting.
Fellow Austinite Jorge Martinez also visits every weekend and shares a similar observation.
I could see a situation where after many, many years, you're going to get spots where you could have a dangerous situation where someone could slip into the river or fall accidentally or trip.
Concerns like these and several drownings over the last few years are why city leaders moved to improve the Rainy Street portion of the trail at Ladybird Lake. Some of these changes include adding lighting along East Avenue and the trail, a camera at the corner of Rainy and Cumming Street, and fence improvements, which will be done in July.
You see how heavily utilized this trail is. Makes you realize how important it is that people feel safe and that, they're just able to really take advantage of, one of Austin's greatest assets for sure.
Separate from these safety improvements, the Trail Conservancy is close to finishing work on the Rainy Street Trailhead project, which also addresses lighting and signage.
To me, this is the heart of the city, and it's the biggest draw, I think, for me personally of the city.
Keeping a community gem well preserved while making it safer. Reporting in.
So the last I heard was they were supposed to begin works in summer of 2024, but then there was a delay for some reason. I don't know what the delay was for, but they actually delayed it for a period of time, but it was supposed to get underway by August of 2024. But I can't see an update whether they actually completed the works or not. But there was supposed to be. Sounds like they're doing other work in the area though. Here, construction of a new wishbone bridge over Ladybird Lake is halfway to completion. So it sounds like they're putting a new wishbone bridge over the lake. Another one? How many bridges do you need? That lake has like 5 bridges.
Construction of a new bridge over Ladybird Lake is halfway to completion. As CBS Austin's Betty Cross reports tonight, the unique bridge will give walkers, runners, and cyclists a safer way to get across the lake.
Southeast of downtown Austin, the city is getting a first-of-its-kind bridge. The Wishbone Bridge is taking shape with concrete beams almost spanning Ladybird Lake.
I think it rocks. Rocket. Almost done.
Wayne Nagel bikes around Ladybird Lake several times a week. He says the 3-pronged pedestrian bridge next to Longhorn Dam will be much safer than making people walk, run, and bike next to traffic on Pleasant Valley Road.
Yeah, this will be great. They've made a lot of progress.
Construction crews have completed all the substructure work, which includes columns beneath the water that hold up the bridge. Most of the beams are also in place, with the exception of one span that is being left open to give crews access in and out.
What the contractor is currently working on is placing the deck that sits right on top of the beams, and that's the portion that everyone's going to walk and bike on. We've got about half of the deck in place.
Just south of the bridge construction, crews have dug out a new pedestrian crossing under Pleasant Valley Road. The arch tunnel is safer, better lit, and 8 times the size of what was here.
And it was about 7 feet in height by 5 feet in width. So our new underpass is 30 feet wide by 16 feet tall.
This is what the tunnel will look like when it's completed. Another artist rendering shows the central platform or gathering place where the 3 prongs of the Wishbone Bridge meet.
It's interesting. The bridge is amazing. What a great bit of engineering. It looks amazing. It looks like it'll provide some nightlife to the area, which I hope means that if there's more people milling around in the evening, like sort of taking walks or riding a bike or, using the area, that maybe if there is a serial killer, they can't use the location anymore. And if there really is a serial killer out here, they might have to move, because you see this artist rendering of the area. Where is it? It's showing a lot of people using the area late at night. See, especially this is the bridge. It's very it looks great. If there's more people about and more lighting, and there'd be less chance for people to enter the water, especially with these high sort of barriers on the side of the walkway. So maybe we'll see a reduction in people falling in the water. That would be good. It is nice. It's a great construction. It does. I love the can we get an overview of it again? It looks great. There you go. It's this sort of Y-shaped. So it goes in one direction, and you can go down here, or you can go on the other side of the water, or you can, if you're on the other side of the water, you can come on this side and head down to your left or to the right. It's a great construction, and it avoids people heading along that riverbank. I think a lot of people will avoid going through that riverbank region if they can follow the bridge on the water. So maybe it'll keep people safer. Could do. We'll have to wait and see. So this was pretty recently. This was only Friday, May the 2nd. So it may be done by now. Is it on our map? Is that that bridge that we just saw? What kind of bridge was it again? Yeah. I don't think it's that one. I'm not sure if it's showing on the map yet. The only one I see is that one. So the only one I see is this one, but that doesn't look like the same thing, does it? Because the other one doesn't go like just that shape. The other one had this trail that went like all the way down the river. So I don't see. Maybe it's not on the map as of yet. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be on the map, which is interesting. I like how there's an island called Snake Hobo Island. So if you go there, there'll be a lot of snakes and hobos, apparently. Yeah, so it's not showing up on the satellite images as of yet. That big Y-shaped construction. What was it called? Near East Austin. Next to Longhorn Dam. So is that Longhorn Dam down here? The other dam is called something else. There's another dam up here. But it's not called Longhorn Dam. It's called the Tom Miller Dam. What if we go this way? What happens if we keep going down the Colorado? I think we end up in Saratoga. So no, that's not Austin. All right, that's not the right place. I don't know. The Y-shaped one doesn't show up. Yeah, I don't know. Be cool if it does. The only one I can see is this one. It doesn't look like the same thing. At least not judging from the photos we saw. And the other one had like a big tunnel that went under the road. And that one does not. So, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't show up. Wishbone Bridge, yeah, like a wishbone. Doesn't show up on our thing though. South Pleasant Valley Road. Let's have a look. Pleasant Valley Road. That's Lake Austin Boulevard. I don't know. We're gonna have to ask a local. We'll probably have to ask a local about it. Pleasant Valley. Yeah, Pleasant Valley Road. So it almost looks like it comes across here maybe. Somewhere around here. Well, that's Pleasant Valley. Yeah, so it's got to be around here somewhere because that's the Pleasant Valley Road. So maybe they're building it across here. Don't know. But it's not showing up on the map wherever they're building it. But that's the road they mention, South Pleasant Valley Road. But no cool looking wishbone bridge on the satellite images as of yet. Not yet. All right. Okay, that is Longhorn Dam. Okay, yeah, well that's where we are. That's where we are right now. But there's no bridge there. There's no bridge. There's no bridge, unfortunately, DJ. Here, let me see. Yeah, here we got a photo that we can show you, like, of where it's supposed to be. See? It's supposed to be here. So there's Pleasant Valley. What's that? Canterbury. So where's Canterbury? Here, right here. So yeah, it's supposed to be sort of right here. It's supposed to stretch across here and then this part of the river and end up at Canterbury Street. But yeah, as you guys can see, there's an old bike track. This one. So there's an old bike track that goes through here. But this looks like probably the old version of it. And this is probably the old tunnel. Remember they were telling you about that old tunnel that now they turn this into a giant archway? I think this must be possibly it right here, maybe. Possibly. But Canterbury Street is right there. And when you look at this map here, you can see that Canterbury Street is where one of those arms of that wishbone is supposed to go. The other one has to go to Longhorn Shores over the other side, and then the other bit connects to that the old bike path that goes up through here. So it just doesn't show up on the map, unfortunately. Doesn't show up on our map, but it should be right here. It should be right here, and it should connect to this bike trail. And it should be sort of like one should come up over here and onto this path, and then one should be over here. But it does say Holly Shores at Town Lake Metro Park temporarily closed. Probably temporarily closed because of the construction. So yeah. Satellite images just not updated as of yet. But pretty cool development. Pretty cool. So yeah. The last dam in Austin. It'll open in 2026. Really? They already got the decking on it. I wonder why it's going to take another year for them to open when they said they've already got through a lot of it. Yeah. July 2024 construction initiation, spring 2026 construction completion. So it's still got a while to go in their building of it. There you go. You guys can see the new tunnel that they built underneath the road. So maybe this might stop people from, if the cops are right and it is people falling into the lake, then maybe having a easier path to different sides of the lake might help. But yeah, there's the new underpass that goes underneath the road. So it would connect to the new wishbone thing. So okay, Blaze. I did not know that. All right. Batman. That's what Insightful One calls me. She calls me Batman. Why? I don't know. That's just what she calls me. All right. That's it. That's it for tonight. We're going to get out of here. It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Australian time. Hey, I want to thank Sean. I want to thank my other friend who doesn't want to be named. And I want to thank Kathy. Thank you for the donations. I appreciate it because we are now back into the sort of saving up phase for the next trial. So the last one, it cost a lot of money. So we're sort of now back into saving for the next time we want to go to another Supreme Court trial. And hopefully it won't be 3 months. I don't think any of us expected at the time that we were going to be gone for almost 3 months of the year. I think we're all like, we're going to be back in a month. And it didn't do that. It was almost 3 months, 12 weeks of trial. So we'll see what the next one is. Hopefully like a 2-week trial. I'd like that. If Pink can find one that's only like 2 weeks long, I would prefer that. I don't want to do another marathon 12-week trial at the moment. I think I'm over that for the minute. So I haven't built it yet. I had to build Mrs. Ping's air clothes thing that you put clothes on and for airing inside the house. So I built that today, and it had like 50 different poles that you had to like hammer in and put it together and make the thing so it actually closes and then you can open it again. And so I had to screw it all together and build that. My chair is sitting right here in a box. I have to pull this one apart, get the new one, put that one together, and then I bought some stuff that you put it on the chair so the cats can't scratch the chair. So when I build the new chair, I've got to put that plastic around the outside of it so the cats can't scratch it. Yeah, so we got it. Here, hold on. So here is part of it right here. This is the back of it. So this is the back of the chair. Hold on. There you guys go. So this is the back of the chair. So this is actually the I think it's the back. So this bit. So it'll be this headrest bit. So this is it. So yeah, it's here. It looks like it's going to be about the same size as the other one. So there you go. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's the same. It's a different color. It's more like fabric. So there you go. Not as like torn to pieces as my old one. It feels really good. It's like nice fabric. It's like a nice fabric, and yeah. So we finally picked it up from the store. I think it was like Monday. So I've got to spend some of my weekend putting it together. So yeah, it's really nice. I can't wait to finally have a new chair after having this broken, torn to pieces chair for like the last, I don't know, 2-3 years or whatever. We've never replaced a chair since we've had the channel. So I've had this chair. This chair I bought in 2011. So I've had this chair for 14 years. And so we had to get a new one. Oh, there we go. So there you go. There you go. The new chair. I can sell it. I don't think I could sell this. I don't think anyone wants it. Chipmunk said, keep it covered. My cats love to chew on the plastic. Yeah, so we bought this stuff. Hold on. So we bought this stuff, and it's like this roll of plastic. Here, I'll show you. So you put it on, and it's really sticky, but it's clear. It looks white, but it's actually clear. And you put it on, and when the cats try to like scratch it, they can't scratch it because it's very slippery, and they don't like it. So it'll stick all on the outside of the chair and up the back. And I think it's got like multiple meters that we can cut out of it. So, and it's even got little like screws, so you can, if it doesn't quite stick to your fabric, you can kind of like push it in and make sure it sticks. So we've got to protect it from the cats. So there we go. New chair is here. And I'm looking forward to it because this one just squeaks like crazy. It just, all you got to do is move a little bit. It's just very old, very, very old. 14, 15 years old. Chipmunk said your cats are going to test the product. I don't want them to. I don't want them to be testing my brand new chair that I got that I really like. Although they destroy everything. I bought brand new pants. They claw it and put holes in them. And you can stop praying for my new chair. It took a while, right? I bought it in June. And it only showed up in like late July. I bought it like early June, and yeah, it showed up billion weeks later. All right. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, and maybe by tomorrow, if I don't have to build anything else for Mrs. Ping, I might have had it done by tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see if I can get it done. I'm more scared about building it and then the cat's destroying it than I am just making sure I build it. It'll only take me like 2 minutes to put it together. I will. Hope you had a good Friday. Hope you have a. I did complain. They just didn't care. The company was really crap. The company that we went to, they were terrible. I hope you had a good Friday. Thank God it's for TGIF on Nights with Ping. Hope it was nice to do something a little bit different that wasn't Aaron Patterson, related. And yeah, we'll be having a small break from Aaron Patterson content for probably at least a couple of weeks, maybe like a month, just so I don't go crazy and wipe out all the other true crime knowledge in my head, and all I'll ever remember is Aaron Patterson for the rest of my life. So we don't want that. So I'm gonna try to do some other true crime content over the next couple of months. I will. I'll be back tomorrow. Back tomorrow around the same time. You guys got to get used to staying up late again to watch the live show at midnight. You guys are gonna have to get used to. I know we haven't done it since April, but you guys are all gonna have to get into the routine of staying up late again to hang out on the late show. All right? All right. I'll see you later. Good night, everyone. Thanks for all the people who support the channel. I appreciate it very, very much. Good night. Bye. Bye-bye.